everyone. Once again, this is Lawrence Adams, the pinball playing, podcasting pro wrestler who's traded his pile drivers for plunges. And I welcome you all to the podcast that's so deep underground we've been playing Mortal Kombat with Jimmy Hoffa. Today on the program, we have new home arcade and pinball releases to talk about. We'll be talking about what's likely headed our way and more, but first,
snap back to reality.
Before we jump in, what's going on around the arcade this weekend? I'm a little late getting the podcast out, probably because it's a holiday. A lot going on. People to see, food to eat, all that wonderful stuff. It has felt a bit like a comedy of errors around the home arcade this past week. It seems like everything that could go wrong will go wrong. I've had some wiring and lighting issues on the Shadow alongside right flipper that's sticky. I hate dealing with sticky flippers, you guys. I really do. We're not talking about an electrical issue. We're talking about where the crud that builds up in the post sleeve, or the coil sleeve rather, gets so gunky, and some wear and tear on the plunger and link gets to the point where the flipper just sticks. It's just like, why? Just leave me alone and let me play my game without having to pull the playfield up and deal with that nonsense for just the silliest little issue. But it is what it is. Ghostbusters is having an issue with the auto plunger. It just stopped effectively auto plunging. So I have some ideas for how to fix that, and we'll be jumping right on it. But that's a bummer too, because when you're playing it in between now and when I fix it, every time a multi-ball or something happens, you have to time your own plunge of the ball against the auto plungers. And if you're trying to juggle a multi-ball in Ghostbusters, you're already in trouble. Yeah, not a whole lot of fun. And then Avengers is having an issue where the ball is getting stuck behind the far back left pop bumper. I figured it out. There's the disc that triggers the pop bumper that the ball rolls over. For some reason, like half down position, like where say it's teetered to the left and teetered to the left and the right side is up in the air. I can't tell if that's just wear and tear or if it's another gunk issue. There's a lot of gunk issues in pinball. But yeah, it's a bummer because that one I have to fully take the glass off, pull the playfield out, be very careful not to break any plastics or do anything stupid. It's also not my pinball machine, so I really don't want to fuck it up. And then just use my magnet and my finger to kind of worm it out of there. But it does suck because it stops gameplay, and I got to take out the pinball broken sign and put it on it until I have the energy to go back and fix it again and again. Hopefully that one kind of works itself out, because I don't really know how to fix that, and I really don't have the time now that we're heading into Tuesday to look into it this week. And that always makes me upset. I don't like to go into a work week with something not working in my arcade. That's just me. So anyway, yeah, I hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend. If you saw the stream on Sunday night, me and my good friend Blaine Davis playing some Shadow, he was having a good time. Let's just put it that way. I think you guys can tell. I am trying to work out audio for that type of thing. I do have some new lapel mics that are pretty cool, but I'm worried about echo with the mic that's got on the machine. Obviously, an easy fix for that is to hook up one of the headphone jacks, but that is expensive and time consuming. And yeah, I have enough expensive, time-consuming activities in my life right now as it is. Let's dive right in and see what's going on around the world of home arcade. Arcade 1-Up has launched a new line of home arcade products. Yeah, these are horrible. They are going back to the original size, the quote-unquote three-quarter size with the riser. Although this time, all of the new Cade are slim, just like NBA Jam and the Casino Cade. Yeah, these are horrible. Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, and the Midway Cab in the style of Mortal Kombat 2. The risers are interesting on these only from, I don't know, an idiot being interested standpoint. The artwork on all the cabinets is the classic artwork scale to their new form, but at the bottom, the artwork all has this black pixel mess. The whole point there is that all of the cabinets eventually have nothing but black. So they have a new inline riser, which will fit an inline riser design stolen from the community, obviously. And the inline riser will fit in, and that way they only have to make one, and it matches with all the artwork. The only thing is, since all of these are slim Cades, they actually have to have the foot on the bottom of the thing. So all of them have little feet. They'll sit against the wall. What's interesting is on their website, they actually appear to be different sizes at the base, which I don't understand how that works. The Pac-Man cabs appear to be have a depth of 17 inches and some change, whereas the Midway one appears to be 18 inches even. I don't know how the hell you get away with that. Anyways, they're all horrible. Moving on. We finally hear from Media One Up and Iconic Arcade. Looks like they are delaying until Q4. I've heard October. Do the spooky music Halloween launch. But yeah, they released a statement. I'll go ahead and read some of it for you here. Continuing to build momentum toward the launch of the iconic arcade Street Fighter XXL machine, created in collaboration with Capcom to celebrate one of the most iconic franchises in gaming history. As part of ongoing global tariff changes and the necessary production adjustments, we are pausing pre orders to allow for internal updates based on fan feedback, pricing realignment. While we work closely with our factory partners to secure additional inventory, we are shifting our participated launch window to Q4 2025. Customers who have already pre-ordered will still receive their machines at the original $699 USD price. We remain committed to delivering a premium arcade experience to fans around the world. Thank you for your patience and continued support. More updates will be shared soon. Follow us on social media for the latest news and announcements. Sincerely, the Iconic Arcade team. What I find interesting about this, and kudos to those of you that actually pre-ordered and are going to get it for $699. What I find interesting, though, is that they say that they are kind of retooling based on fan feedback. I hope that's a good thing. Fan feedback for the cabinets has been overwhelmingly positive, with just a couple of adjustments that we would like to see. Some people, myself included, complained about the Street Fighter 2 art package, and we were just hoping for a more traditional arcade design, especially since they are releasing the Alpha Series cab, which wasn't actually a cabinet, and they have a lot of creative license on that. It looks gorgeous. It's probably actually the one I am going to buy. But the only reason that's the case is because the Street Fighter 2 cabinet isn't 100% arcade accurate, and they could have very easily done that. It still looks gorgeous. It's just not arcade accurate. The other thing is that they are so very close in their design to having a control panel that was the classic width and dimensions of the actual arcade cabinet. Now, this is important for a lot of reasons. And a lot of people in the community, especially people online, will talk about how they don't ever play their arcade cabinets with people over. I find that to be a bit ridiculous. I have an arcade full of arcade one-up cabinets. I wish to God, over more than anything at this point, that they were simply the right width so that when my friends come over, we could all actually play on them. And if they were to fix this, I think that they would have solved every problem in the home arcade space that has people considering maybe buying old machines and trying to fix them up, which is an entirely gigantic undertaking. If you're into it, great. That's great. But for a lot of us, we just want something to plop down in our arcade and be able to play games on. There was also a recent tweet put out from Licensing Con by John D saying that the future of home arcade is good. I know John D is somewhat a controversial figure in the home arcade space, but I trust in John D. I'm just going to say it. I think that if he is at the helm of securing their licenses, then Iconic Arcade and Media One Up are going to continue to innovate and make the home arcade space a place where we are all very happy. Pinball. Let's talk some pinball. There is too much still to come.
I want it all.
There have already been so many announcements around the world of pinball.
I want it all.
King Kong, Dune, Harry Potter, Evil Dead.
I want it all. And I want it now.
All of those are already taking orders, with one being sold out, which is why it's crazy that there are still so many announcements left to come. Pinball Brothers, it looks like Predator is coming. I know I talked about that a little while ago, and it sounded like maybe it wasn't. The theme is amazing. I really want one. I know they had quality issues with Alien. I believe the Ripley edition didn't have many of those. I still want an Alien, though. If I ever get filthy, stinking rich, there will be signs, and one of them will be an Alien pin in my arcade. Tales of the Arabian Nights by Pedretti. Yeah, I'm just going to say it. If this is true, I'm going to have to find a way to get one. This year is killing me with the themes that they are picking. Tales of the Arabian Nights is tied. I've said it many times. It is tied for me for the best pin of the 90s, that being the Shadow as the other one. I know some people think I'm crazy. Talk about Medieval Madness and Attack of Mars and a million others. I still love a million others too. Don't get me wrong. but if I had to choose two '90s pins to go in my home arcade, it would be Cotan and Shadow, and I am halfway there. It sounds like Stern is gearing up to make another Star Wars title. I do not know where this rumor came from, but it has gained so much steam over the past like 2 weeks, week and a half, that I can only assume that it's true. And if it is true, are we really getting episodes 1 through 3? That does seem like an odd choice, but there are enough people in that age group, even friends of mine that are like 3 years younger than me, 5 years younger than me. To them, that is their Star Wars, and that's what they are going to buy. Uh, I think that it's an odd choice just because of episode 2. I'm just, I think I can't even watch that movie. But episode 1 has Darth Maul, best lightsaber fight in all Star Wars, and has pod racing. And of course, episode 3 has some of the best and most memorable stuff for newer Star Wars in recent memory. The real question is this in my mind. We already have a Star Wars that is episodes 4 through 6. If they are making episodes 1 through 3, is Stern lining up or preparing to make their own Star Wars trilogy of pins? But when it comes to collections like that, like Elvira, people want to have all three of those in their collection if they have one. So are they going to make a 1 through 3 to go with the 4 through 6? And if so, does that mean we're actually going to get a 7 through 9? That would be the hottest mess pin in the history of hot mess pins. But yeah, we'll see. But there's also the Stern remaster rumors still going. People are still saying it's going to be possibly Ghostbusters. I don't think it will be. I've said that before. I think there's too much in the history of that game that makes it an unlikely choice. I also think the licensing is a nightmare. One thing people don't understand about Ghostbusters, Bill Murray doesn't have an agent. You literally have to find the man and get him to agree to something. Most of the time I hear he's pretty amicable. I wouldn't know anything about that, but you have to track him down. It sounds much more likely that the rumor posted on Nap Arcade. Shout out to Nap Arcade. If you don't know who they are, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast, but go check them out. Nap Arcade is one of the best places, probably the best place for pinball news out there on the web. But it sounds like Walking Dead is going to be the remaster. I actually think that's a great idea. I do love playing The Walking Dead. I do think, like Metallica, if you cleaned up just a little bit of that game's geometry, I would want it very badly. And with the series, essentially, the main series essentially at a close, think about all they could do with added modes and the extra resources that they'd have in video. I'm very curious to see where this rumor goes. And finally, on the show for today, I want to give my review of The Shadow.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men?
Bally Williams game from 1994. I own this game, so I'll be giving you my perspective from having it in my home after years of encountering it in the arcade, during league play, a little bit of free play, etc. Starting with my initial impressions, I'll be honest, I walked right past this game back in the 90s. I do remember it being in two of the arcades that I used to frequent, and yeah, it just did not draw me in whatsoever back in the day when I was a much smaller version of myself. As I got older, though, and got back into pinball, I was really surprised to find out that this was a Brian Eddy game. It's nothing like the other two games he's known for from the 90s. Medieval Madness and Attack from Mars are essentially very similar games in terms of their layout. That's not a bad thing, it's just the truth. But this game, though, is absolutely a hidden gem. That's my return impression to all this. I will say the overall game, it is deceptively brutal. And what I mean by that is you won't be deceived at how brutal it is when you play it, but when you first look at it, it's actually one of the easiest to understand games, I think, in all of pinball. So you look at the playfield, the art isn't confusing, it isn't a mess, it's that Art Deco style, that really awesome artwork. And the inserts are pretty clearly indicated. You have your modes in the center, you have the four things that you need to do to get to the wizard mode clearly listed, and everything on the playfield is really easy to read. The problem is, just like in most Brian Eddy's games, hit a post and you are done. Especially when you are trying the skill shot, which is basically the most inviting shot on the game, which is where you auto plunge. The whole game has the gun auto plunge thing. Ball comes down and you have the shot to the left ramp, and There are those two yellow posts right out in front, similar to the ones that are out front of the castle in Medieval Madness that will just kill you. And except these are way, way closer to the flippers. So lower third type thing. So you hit those and you drain. And it's going to happen a lot when you're learning this game. It'll happen a lot after you learn the game too. But overall, I think it is a great challenge because you can very easily see it's doable, right? There's the four things you need to do are clearly listed individually. They're not that hard to conceptually pull off, but stacking all four of them and then getting to what is probably one of the best wizard modes in all of pinball, certainly one of the best wizard modes from the 90s, the final battle. It's all right there in front of you, but the game is just incredibly difficult, which is why it's in my collection. My favorite shot in the game has probably got to be the right ramp, the one that's further up on the playfield. That ramp is incredibly steep, and because of that, it's actually difficult to make. If you don't hit it clean, the ball will come right back at you. Breaking off of it isn't as unforgiving as the one to your left. However, the fact that you have the diverters in the game essentially means that all four of your ramps are, or sorry, all two of your ramps are essentially four shots. That was the point I was trying to make. So that right ramp is just incredibly fun to hit. My favorite feature in the game, I want to say the upper playfield because it doesn't get nearly enough love, but it actually is the ball lock. This game has the best physical ball lock in probably all of pinball ever. Period. The end. You hit the brick wall in the back, the target essentially, and to light your lock. And then once you have it lit, you shoot the ball straight up the middle. The ball freezes because of a magnet. The music plays, the brick wall drops down, and the ball is flung into the back of the cabinet around the corner, go into the inner sanctum. Never see it again. It's so freaking cool. And whoever programmed it so that when the magnet first releases it, that the ball drops a little bit before going up into the back of the cabinet is just holy crap. I've seen it probably 1,000 times, and I still stand there like an idiot, smiling every time I see it. My least favorite shot in the entire game has got to be the left scoop. A lot of people will step up to this game in my arcade and they will play the game quite a lot and they won't even realize that there's a scoop there. And that is because, one, it is hidden, although it's pretty clearly indicated, but also because most shots in pinball you will at least accidentally hit one time. This one you have to accidentally hit one time. Once you learn how to hit it, it is very satisfying. That like kathunk that it makes when you shoot the ball in there. That's just one of those, oh thank God I did it and it felt good moments. But yeah, that's gotta be my least favorite shot in the game. My least favorite feature of the game is, let's see, probably the let's see, it's really hard to say. My least favorite feature in the game is probably the fact that I can't get to those back orbits to clean them, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think I'll put it that way because I really don't have a least favorite feature. I think the game as an entire package is fantastic, and I think that it's greater than the sum of its parts. And I think that um, there's really nothing bad in the game. There might be things you favor over others, but the features in this game are fantastic. You have the diverters, which are just classic old school gimmicky pinball that work perfectly. You have the upper playfield, which is like a solid physical game of breakout that also works amazingly well. You have the ball lock, and yeah. Oh, you know what I will say? My least favorite feature is starting the modes. You have to start the modes by either hitting that hidden scoop or by hitting a shot just left of the right orbit. And it's a very narrow shot with two rubber posts on the end of it, and it leads up to a saucer. And if you don't hit that, you can't start your modes. So you might be cruising along and nail like three of the four requirements, right, to get to the final battle. You can do the two different multi balls, and you can beat the upper playfield, and you won't have any mode started because it's just so incredibly difficult to make that shot. That is probably my least favorite feature. It also illustrates further, though, that this is a 90s pin from an arcade. It was made to take your money by frustrating you and making you believe that there was just a little more game around the corner so long as you could make the shot. Which leads me to my next topic, which is addictiveness. And this game has that addictive feel. I'm not sure if it has it for everybody. I certainly know anyone who's played it in my arcade really can't turn it off or ever walk away from it. They're over to watch, say, wrestling or football or hockey or something like that. he'll continually interrupt the gathering by pushing start and playing the game, which is a loud game. All pinball's loud, but the inverters and everything else is pretty damn loud. It is incredibly addictive. It has that just make you angry enough and just make you excited enough to push start one more time appeal. But what about lasting appeal? Hard to talk about lasting appeal when you're considering a pin from 1994 that is still talked about as much as The Shadow. I know that the movie was one of the reasons, the theme tie into the movie is one of the reasons the pin didn't do as well way back when. And I think that most people nowadays don't care. I also think, don't get me wrong, I am a B movie buff. But I think if you were to go back and watch the movie and give it a fair shake and not look at it through the lens of 1994 and through its advertising where they were trying to make it a Batman or a Dick Tracy and just appreciate it for what it is, I think you'd like the movie a whole lot more. Don't at me if you don't. I don't care. Let's see what else to say about The Shadow. I'd love to do a video about it sometime, so I'm not going to like go over shot for shot. But I do just really love the whole package. I know I said it before, but I do. There's nothing bad about it whatsoever. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, when the sun sets slowly in the west, the shadow knows that I am going to be coming back and pressing start one more time. Speaking of the sun setting slowly in the west, I want to thank everybody for joining me. Monday is coming to a close, even for me over here. I'm recording this at the very end of editing the podcast. But yeah, looks like it's back to work tomorrow. And at the very least, I get to play in League tomorrow night. So it's not like it's completely over. But it was very nice spending time with you folks. Thank you so much for listening. This is Lawrence Adams, the Midlife Arcade, saying may all your scores be high and may all your balls be extra. I will see you next time.